Alright, thank you very much. Hello everybody, it's your good friend Plausible here, and I'm here to celebrate the 25th anniversary of a very great movie. Probably one of the best comedies, one of the most inventive movies ever made, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Basically, you've got this story of a rabbit who this was set back in like the 1930s, 1940s, I believe, and the rabbit is being framed for a murder, the murder of the studio. Oh no, the murder of a toy uh, maker. And this was a very amazing story. I love the story. I love that time period. It's very classy, very polite and all that, and yet at the same time very rough, very gruff. You've got Bob Hopkins playing Eddie Valland, and he's helping Roger clear his name very reluctantly, I might add. But the whole movie is hilarious, and I always have to say, despite the fact that this movie was made in 1988, it was very much ahead of its time. Okay, this is one of those very extremely well done movies that had a lot going for it. Number one, you had the interaction between cartoons and people. Very difficult to do, and very well done, I have to say. You get the feeling that these cartoon characters are actually there. And remember, this is before Avatar. This is before a lot of stuff. So back in these days, green screen was still a new technology back in these days. So it was very well done, especially for the kind of attention to detail that it had. When Roger picks something up that's real and he's a cartoon, you don't notice the difference when he splashes or if he hits something. It's very funny. It's very well written. The story is incredible. It's very good about that time period. This was the golden age of comic books, and not comic books, but of animation in the movies. This is when Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, and all the rest were all becoming big stars back then. They were huge back then. They're big today, but they were absolutely humongous back then. And of course, let's give a special attention to every man's favorite character in this movie, Jessica Rabbit. We forget sometimes that women were very much objectified back in those days, especially in the cartoons. They had these cartoons that were like this, very sexy. This was back in the day when cartoons were not censored as much as they are today, and it's probably because of the way they made cartoons back then. To give an example, if you ever can find this, look up some old Looney Tunes, and you will find a Looney Tune where one of the babies, a human baby, was sucking on the barrel of a gun like it was a pacifier. Okay, I kid you not. Today, people would go absolutely crazy to see something like that. Back in the day, it was just considered funny because nobody would be stupid enough to do that back then. Okay, that said, this movie was very well written. Like I said, I had one more important point to make about this movie. Good murder mystery, too, by the way, has a very sad moment in it, though. It's one of those moments where you almost want to hide your kid's eyes because it was very sad. They don't show it to you. Even one of the tough cops who saw it was like, "Oh, I can't watch," and that was like, "Oh, I remember now." The movie is historical because it's the first time a lot of screen rivals were together on the same screen. Together, talking to each other and everything. You got Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny paired off. You got Donald Duck and Daffy Duck paired together. And you just have all sorts of animation hijinks that you just don't see anymore. You don't get this anymore. These kind of hijinks were just so funny. Back in the day, they're still funny today. But the way they did it, it was awesome. And yes, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. A great movie. It's a shame. This was a very successful movie back in the day, and they wanted to make another movie with Roger Rabbit, which would be a prequel. It would be how he met Jessica Rabbit, and we would put him back in World War II. Back in World War II, even Donald Duck won an Academy Award because of a portrayal of a movie he did back in World War II, and he did a whole bunch. There's a reason Donald's in the Navy. There was a time he was actually in the Army also, and he still didn't wear pants. Go figure. But that was their golden era because it was such a rough time. It was such a hard time that people needed an escape, and movies gave them that escape. So if you haven't yet, if you have the opportunity, you gotta see it. This is a definite see it, especially now. The anniversary was back in June, so happy belated 25th anniversary. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, awesome movie, great time. And in the meantime, people, we will see you at the theaters.